Hey, welcome back. It's Mike Tangretta joined alongside my good friend Ron Mora. Welcome back to another episode. It is the Making of an Entrepreneur Show. Glad you're along with us, Ron. And Ron, you have an awesome and interesting story. We connected over the course of our networking event, which we'll talk a little bit about. But Ron's awesome. You actually grew your personal training business and grew it into an online business without doing any advertising whatsoever. And I thought that's pretty fascinating. You've grown it to like a six-figure business. And that's like super, super cool. And I know our viewers would love to know more about that. But before we even get into that, Ron, just tell us a little bit about yourself, why you decided to get into the fitness industry, and your journey to where you are right now.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Mike. And what a great way to connect on a plane. What a weekend it was. But you know what? I've been personal training for around 20 years. My story was when I was a kid, I used to get bullied. They used to call me Scrawny Ryan, so I was picked on. So I lifted my first weight when I was around 14 years old. At the school I was at, like high school, there was a police officer there. He took me under his wing, and I loved lifting weights. I loved that, I had the confidence, and I started transforming my body. So I knew when I was young that I wanted to do something in fitness because I wanted to empower other people, help them get confidence, and really transform their life through fitness. So 19 years old and still in high school, actually university, my first year back, I got like my summer company. There was a grant. I said, I want to run a business. They helped me out. So that was like, just personal training, very small. Essentially, I had a friend that owned a gym. So I started it that way. And ever since, it transformed. And then I essentially had a brick and mortar gym, ran boot camps. And then eventually, I always wanted to do online, but didn't know how to do it. So I hired a coach, someone I knew for a long time in the industry, Craig Ballantyne, who really changed my life in that 1 year and helped me transition online. Because I already had that celebrity, local celebrity. I mean, I've been training for 20 years. So bridging that gap with the right tools allowed me to really compress time when he gave me the blueprint. And now I'm an online trainer. So always inspiring people, always helping them. But ultimately, it all comes with serving others and helping them become the best version of themselves.
Yeah, always come with a giving hand, right? And that's something that like I always teach our trainers and our entrepreneurs that are listening to this show, like if you can come with a giving hand, which is so important, chances are you're going to get like a duplicate or way more than back in return, right? So that's so awesome. And our viewers and our listeners should know you actually you're more from a small town. You didn't do this in a big city as well. Like you're out in Brantford, and you've managed to grow an awesome business out there. So that's really cool. And some of the we talked about networking and your coaching. We'll talk a little bit about that because I think that's so important. And a lot of our listeners, if you're not using a coach, I highly recommend it, at least at some point in your life. Maybe you don't need a coach forever, but if you can use it through some peak periods to really grow your business, I think it's super important. And we actually met mutually through our mutual coach, Craig Ballantyne, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And he always says your network is your net worth, right? It's equivalent to that. So connecting with other like-minded entrepreneurs, bringing people together is awesome. And before we got on this call, you were telling me about how you actually use some renegade strategies to network. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I mean, most of the time when you think online training, you think you're working with people all around the world. Well, for me, what my coach, Craig Valentine, helped me, he helped me leverage my current network because I've been in the industry for 20 years, local trainer. I had a gym for a few years, so people knew me. So what I started to do was I looked at what my client avatar is, my ideal client, which is a busy parent who's looking to lose around 20 pounds. So what I would do is I would go to where they usually hang out. So where do busy parents go? Well, Starbucks. They're there on the weekends because they pick up the Starbucks and then they go to, basketball practice or something with their kids. Where else would they go? Anywhere, and I love golf, so I had a golf membership somewhere nearby in town. So anywhere where your client is hanging out, you want to be there and be seen. And essentially, people would be curious. I like to essentially have a new conversation every single day with someone I don't know. Even though I have a small town, there's Brantford, Ontario, there's 100,000 people. But there's still people I walk around and I see them in the grocery. I'm like, I don't even know this person, because it is amazing just in your local community, people that you don't know. So you need to be networking. You need to have, I have friends in the real estate business and the insurance business, and every single business that I refer clients to, I know someone who owns a fitness store, and I recommend my clients go there. Like if someone sets up a home gym, they go see someone at this certain store, supplement store. So you build your, what you call a dream dozen, and they'll want to reciprocate. But yeah, you got to do, with online fitness training, you just can't expect to post a video and the whole world to know you. So I just did my online business, but my local traffic. And I just told everyone to follow my stories, because every day I post a 1-minute message to the world, and I'm adding value if someone watches it. And then that's how they know, like, and trust me. And then eventually we have that transaction when they're ready to DM me. So yeah, always show up with value, and you got to always increase your network. But they've got to be your client avatar, someone who would be an ideal fit for your client.
Absolutely. And for our listeners who don't know what a client avatar is, it's basically just narrowing it down. So if you want to work with, and maybe you can explain this a little bit better, but I'll do my best. So if you want to work with females that are aged 25 to 30 and that are, just had a child, like the more focused you can get on that avatar, the better your basically your messaging is going to be, correct?
Absolutely, because you always want to, whether it's your copy, whether it's the messaging on your stories, you want to enter the conversation the prospect's mind. So my stories resonate with busy parents, because I have videos of my kid waking me up at 3 a.m. and I'll post some of these videos, and they're like, yeah, I get it. It's easy to get derailed because your kid keeps you up. I understand, but here I have a solution. If you're working with someone who, like, I don't work with someone who, doesn't have kids. If they won't really watch my stories, so they wouldn't find them entertaining. So if you're working with high school athletes, the messaging is going to be different. The tone you're going to have is different, background, everything. So you really have to know who is it that you want to serve. And you got to be a specialist. You can't be a generalist that work. And that was my problem early on. I just accepted everyone. And sure, you can do well initially, but you won't be known for anything. Now I'm known as that. I'll help busy parents lose 20 pounds in 90 days. And it's not a restrictive eating plan. So if you're working with bodybuilders and you do macros, then just focus on that. So there should be clientele that you love serving, and you got to really narrow it down. You don't have to dial it in so much. You have to make sure there's an audience and that they will pay for your services. So you can't work with like high schoolers and charge high ticket unless their parents are going to cop the bill, right? So yeah, you have to be strategic in your messaging. But it's something that you truly want to help.
Awesome. So, we'll get a little more into your online business, because I'm so curious, and I'm sure our listeners are as well, because you've done awesome, with it. And I think you're doing great things. I follow you online, and I love watching your videos too. So it's awesome. And people can connect with you. I believe it's Instagram at Ron Moura.
Yeah, so Ron and then Moura, Mourra. That's right. I do a daily story, and I'm on IGTV. I repurpose my content elsewhere, but Instagram is my main hub that I go all the time.
Perfect. Okay, so tell me, I know you're a busy parent, and before we get into your online business, just tell me a little bit about what a typical day looks like for you, because you've got 2 small kids.
Yeah,
I can imagine running a business and having 2 kids. It can be challenging. I know firsthand, because I have one little guy, and it's a balancing act.
Oh, absolutely. As a parent, you would know, like, running a business, honestly, compared to parenting, I find it's easy, because kids are manipulative, and that they're supposed to be. They're going to push you. They're going to push your limits. They're so unpredictable. With business, I love work. I can work 16, 17, 18 hours a day, but with parenting, it's outside my zone. So I need to set myself in a position to succeed. I can't wake up to a crying baby, even if it's my baby. If I was to wake up and change my Bennett's diaper, who's 14 months, it's just not a good way to wake up, just like physiologically to that. So I wake up, 3:38 I wake up. That's, I think 8 minutes later than Mark Wahlberg, but 22 minutes before The Rock and my coach, Craig Valentine. So that pushes me. If The Rock's waking up I need to wake up before my coach, Craig Valentine, because that's just me. Like, I know that he's not sleeping in, but the reason I wake up that early is because my son might be up 4:30, 4:45, or 5 o'clock. So I need to be productive for a few hours. And my ritual is I just wake up. I don't really I don't work out till later. I'll plug some headphones in, and I really I listen to whether it's Les Brown, Anthony Robbins, the likes, just to feed my brain. Because you always have to Anthony Robbins said it, I think, is stand guard the door of your mind. Every day feed it something good. The first 5 minutes I'm feeding my body something good, but not sitting and watching that YouTube video. I have my AirPods on, wash my face, grab a coffee, and then I go and start with either my work. So it's like 3:55. I start shooting video that I'm going to post later on. I respond, look at my DMs, and I follow up. And it's very structured. So the structure equals freedom, and that's what I learned from Craig. I have like 30-minute Pomodoro, like 30-minute blocks of work to get stuff done. You always have to have urgency. I used to be a big procrastinator where it would take me so long to do a task. Now it's if I push that task too much, I chunk it down so it has to be done in 30 minutes. It's got to be super simple because there's something nice to just check off some stuff. And every day I try to drum up business. So every day, 30 minutes a day, I'm trying to find ways to drum up business. Who do I need to contact today? So, and then I just essentially, because I don't see people in person anymore, like from 6 to 9, I'm a parent. So I lose the 3 hours of business, but I'm ahead of the game because I've done the legwork. And for me, I want to be with my kids. So I cook them breakfast. We get ready for school. My wife gets up. I make coffee. It's a very nice routine, but I need to have structure to do that. And then in the fall time when it's nice in the summer, I'll golf. I love to golf. I'm pretty much golfing every day, 9 holes. That's just to meet new people, and that's my ideal market too. Like some of them are older, they're wealthy, and they want to get in shape. And then it's back to responding to messages and servicing my online clients. So I have blocks. I compartmentalize my flow. So, 30 minutes. If I'm working, I'm checking in with my online clients for a bit in the morning, and then at night I don't get distracted. So I kind of separate the world. The same as parenting. When I'm parenting. I don't want to be an entrepreneur then. I've got to have a start and stop. So that really maximizes my day. But I'm in bed by 8:38, right? I've got an alarm, right? It's a reverse alarm that reminds me 30 minutes before go to bed. I always say nothing good happens after 8:30. Before it used to be like midnight, and then the older I get, it's like I want to sleep early. I like that because I don't watch TV. I don't watch Netflix, and I'll watch a show with my wife once in a while. But I've got a mission to help people, and this is the only way to do it. So I look at it as a game. So every day I've got a mission. And I've got to accomplish it.
It's funny. It's just funny you say that because I'm the exact same way, right? When you have a mission and a purpose, you actually want to get to bed early so you can actually crank out your mission and purpose the next day, right? I don't get up as early as you. I'm not going to lie. Like that's impressive. I thought Craig was a little off back there when he gets up at 4 a.m. and you're beating him. But that's amazing. Like for me, I start my day usually at 8 a.m., but I'll go till 6. And the first, but I whatever works for you, like whatever works for our entrepreneurs. But the most important thing that I can take away from what you're doing is you obviously, you're time blocking your day, which, before I used to be an entrepreneur that would sort of just go with the flow. Like I'd wake up, maybe check my email. Then, suddenly you're trying to put a fire out an email. And then I got these things I want to work on, but then something else would come up. Then maybe be time I'd have, I like to have at least 20 minutes with my son just for lunchtime. So I'll come back up to a little bit of lunch and then go back to work. But I was basically running around with like a chicken with its head cut off. And it wasn't until I started to actually time block and say, listen, at 8 a.m., this is what I'm going to do, the most important task. And it wouldn't be checking email. I don't check email now until the afternoon. On most days, because I want to make sure that I'm using my most productive time. So at 8 a.m., I'm basically from 8 till 9 a.m. doing the most productive task that's going to push the needle forward on my business. And just like you, I think it's so important for entrepreneurs, make sure that you are using your time blocks and moving forward. And I think that was well said, Ron.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mark Twain said it. You got to eat the frog right in the morning. And if you have 2 frogs, you got to eat the bigger frog first. So tackle that. It's so key.
Exactly. So yeah, let's go into your online training business. I think a lot of our listeners and viewers are probably really interested in what you've done there and how successful you've grown your business. And I found it fascinating, on our plane ride back to Toronto that you had done a lot of this without any advertising, and a lot of it you mentioned already, like that, going to network and meet people at Starbucks or golf. But take me through a little bit about how the online process works for, let's say there's a personal trainer that wants to start an online training business.
Yeah.
How would they get started?
Well, the best way, I mean, because back when I started with Craig, September 2018, I still had clients that I was seeing in person. So Craig was like, just shift them into hybrid. So I think I seen a client, he would always come Monday and he would always come Friday, and he would always cancel those days, one or the other. So I'm like, hey, I'm getting into online training. Let's put this app. So I use Trainerize. And I kind of said to him, you're missing every week anyway, a Monday or Friday. Why don't we just shift you to hybrid? He was very reluctant, but when I gave him the app, he was really amazed on how it kept him accountable. So I shifted my in-person, and Craig really, my coach at the time, said, you have to take this on where you have to scale back. You can't do all this and start doing hybrid training, not doing as much in-person. So I blocked off maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday where I'd see in-person, and then or Tuesday, Thursday, and the other days built the online business. So then I enrolled those clients into hybrid, and I used Instagram as my main hub. So back then, when I jumped on Instagram, I only had 300 followers. A lot of them was there from before, who were friends with me on Facebook. And I was not active until my BlackBerry died and my wife gave me her iPhone. So I started with daily stories, but I would tell everyone I would meet in person, hey, they're always like, oh, do you have a business card? And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's 2000 and like, who's got a business card? I've got my IG. Follow me in IG, Ron at Mount. They're great. So then I started to build. I only have 800 followers, but the only thing is you don't need that many because of the online fitness coach. It's a high ticket offer, and you only need 30, 40, 50 clients. And if you serve them right, they're going to be with you for 6, 8 a year. Like we all have that. Mike, you know this. If you get someone results and you really care about them, it's not surprising that they've worked with you for years. Like I had clients that have been with me for 7, 8 years, personal training. Getting them to shift online, in people's mind, it'd be like, what are they paying you for? Ultimately, they're paying you to be part of your world, your tribe, and experience, and get that accountability. And a lot of them just shift it over, and they love it because you're helping them away from that hour session that you see them a week, right, or 2-hour session. You're helping them troubleshoot the most important thing with nutrition. The Trainerize allows it all to happen in one. And also, if you're a PT, it's great. You can have it on your phone and track your workouts with a client and get them excited so you can really pre-sell them on it. When you're like, look at this, you've got your workout here, you've got videos. So really just transition my in-person clients to online and pushed everyone. My marketing strategy was all just by daily stories and using Craig's formula to attract the right audience. So that way, if they're in my avatar, I got them to watch my stories. And direct messaging on Instagram is like email. It's like email marketing because you can tell open rates are a lot better. You can tell when someone actually opened it and then if they responded or not. And the way you can message someone is so much more personable. So if I get a DM on Instagram from a client, like if they're interested, I'll message them back. Hey, Steve, thanks a lot for messaging. Sounds like your biggest obstacle is protein. Here's my tip for you. Boom. And then you go through a certain script and you jump on a call, and it's fairly. I'm amazed at how it works. But I was skeptical at first, but I was amazed on how when I followed the system to put my head down and just gave it a shot, it worked.
Yeah. So and the system you're referring to is it's Craig's social media story selling system, but. It's really, really cool. I know you've done awesome with it. I'm going to start to plan to do it as well. But so the process is really for our viewers and listeners is you need to create content. So it doesn't matter. I always tell this to any business. It doesn't matter what business you're in, right? If you're not doing video, and we learned this over the course of the past weekend, right? Like every speaker that came up there pushed video, right? So if you're not doing video, you're not going to stand out. And you're probably going to have a business that's lacking in the future. So the first step is really creating the content. Then from there, I believe you go into Instagram stories. Is that what I have right? Is that where you would post your first? So you post a few videos a day, correct? So take me through that process of what you your 3 videos that you do a day.
So I've got a schedule every day. My commitment to my audience, to the world, is to do a daily story. It's a minute message based on our theme for the day. So on my story on Monday might be mindset. So I'm entering the conversation. Most people are already behind the ball. Their kid was sick. They maybe had too much to eat. They drank too much. So they got to have a clean slate. And their tip to win the week is just simply forgive themselves of the sins and just make their next meal better. So it's a 1-minute message. And then there's always going to be a call to action there to encourage them to have a conversation with me. If I am taking enrollment, I'll let them know that I've got a program starting when, what they get, how they get it, and why they should act now. So I'm really teaching them what online coaching is behind the scenes. The Tuesdays, the teach and preach, Wednesday. So I follow that format. In my feed, I'm always posting once a week. And the feed is either like, it's always valuable, purposeful, shareable posts. And then I also have 3 IGTVs per week. Now with IGTV being so big, Instagram is going to reward you for posting on IGTV because they're going up against YouTube. So I do horizontal views, and if they're at least a minute long, I'm going to post in my feed, that IGTV. And then I will do Instagram Lives once in a while and Facebook Lives from time to time. And then repurpose that content. So I'm going to start taking the video from IGTV, put it to YouTube, and then putting it to LinkedIn, which is really big right now, depending on your market. But you're always entering the conversation in the prospect's mind. That story has to bring value. And you really have to bring up an issue that it's a problem for your client, not something you think your client is dealing with. So you have to do your research. Go to Reddit, go to even the YouTubes, find out what the big YouTubers are talking about because they know, and just the 3 best fat loss, like then you don't have to create original content really. It's got to be your unique spin, but ultimately your message has to resonate. So I don't talk that much about like the science of it because no one really cares. You don't want to talk about the Krebs cycle and all, like no one really cares.
No, exactly.
We're not there to get educated because if they were, they would Google it, right? And they want to get entertained a bit, teach them something that is practical to them, and then keep them coming back. Showcase your dog. I got a dog back there. Anytime I have a dog in my videos, I get so much response. Or my kids. Like I would even go for some of your trainers, go on Facebook, like a Facebook shout out strategy. You know, like what I did, Craig Cobb. He's like, update everyone. So every 3 months, go on your personal page and say, hey, it's Ron Moore here. I've got my kids with me. I just want to update you. Everyone's been asking what I've been up to. So I am still in training, but it's online. So jump on my Instagram. So you're just updating people. No one's going to say, what are you doing? Like people want to know what you're up to. So that's a good way, like versus telling everyone I'm putting it in a video. But I mean, you get better at video by just speaking to it. Everyone asks me, they're like, wow, I can just pull up a camera and talk about anything. But if you watch my videos a year ago, you would be like, who is this guy? Right? I mean, I've got a big nose. Now I'm proud of it, and I had big ears, but now my face filled in. I was like so self-conscious. I was like, Craig, what if I post and someone makes fun of my nose? You know, what if I look? He's like, no one cares about that. He's like, you can't. You have a message. It's your duty. People are hurting and people are crying themselves to sleep. So get over yourself and just do it anyway. And I was like, because it's true. It's like I was trying to come up with every excuse, and it's not about me. So by me posting, I'm putting my message to the world, and someone really needs to hear it, and you don't know who it is. And that's why Instagram is great because it can reach a lot of people, and you can help people. You can save lives. Like trainers out there, you are saving people's lives. And I think if you come at it from that perspective, you'll come up with good content because you'll get in the lab, figure out what are your clients dealing with, start interviewing your spouse. Like, you know, my wife coming off having 2 babies, I asked her what is the struggle she's dealing with, and that allowed me to come up with better stories. I can't put, you know, what I think people struggle with because I didn't really have a big weight issue. So you have to ask people and research it on like Reddit, and you see the conversations there. It'll make you cry because you have a solution. So that's what you're going to use social media for. It's business media. Actually. It's not like we're not there. I'm not there. Spending hours and hours wasting time. I'm just there putting my message out and I use it to get traffic so I can help more people.
Yeah. And I think, you know what, like, you know, we're here not to make Zuckerberg money, right? We're here to make ourselves some money. And,
yes.
Right. You can either be a consumer, or you can be someone who's going to use it for business. I mean, you can use social media for business. You're a perfect example of someone who's grown a following. You know, you used it a year ago. I think you only had 300 followers. Now you're up to, you know, you're approaching 1,000, and you're making money just from social media storytelling and posting daily content. And listen, everybody thinks, oh, I don't have a cameraman. I've heard this once from somebody, like, oh, you got a budget for a cameraman. No, I don't. Yeah, I send a guy once in a while to edit my videos. But no, it's all on your phone. Everybody has an iPhone now or a smartphone. Like, really take your video, post it, put it online, but you've got to do it daily. One of the things I like is batch producing as well. So this is something that I do is basically I will take my videos and I will schedule an hour. So if it's an hour on Wednesday, I'll do an hour of videos, and literally I'll just talk about what I think people, want to hear. And so often it's, it's things about injuries that I like to share, because I always get the most responses there, like, how to deal with shoulder or knee pain and things like that. But if you can batch produce for an hour, then you literally have content for basically the whole week, right? You can maybe even more. Yeah. So, and is that something you do, batch producing?
And I write scripts, so now, I mean, because I do business coaching for Craig students. I mean, I write scripts that I use on an app called Big VU. So you've got an app, you're reading from a teleprompter. So some of the students that I'm working with are starting off, they don't know how to do a story, so they just read from a teleprompter. It gives them confidence. Also condenses the message so they have a call to action. So I would create that, and then I would just videotape it, and then I would change clothes if I'm going to do it for a different day. So essentially, batching your content ahead of time, doing your Instagram TVs, you got to plan ahead, because really there's a few steps in there. It's not just, hey, put the video up. Now I can do it because I've done it for so long, but you flex that skill over time. But what I would do is look at the theme for the day, write a script out first, boom, write the scripts out originally, then practice it, then videotape it, and then the day of, you just post it. Because on Instagram, you got to post in real time, so save it somewhere, splice it up, but we don't like to use the app directly from the Instagram app. I just videotape it using my big camera on my phone, because that way you can save it for later. Because Instagram wants you to do it in real time. That's why they don't have a lot of apps that allow you to schedule it. It's supposed to be Insta, but we're doing a hack and we're doing it ahead of time. So that way you're posting every day and you're not missing the posting schedule. Yeah, batching is huge. Yeah, you got to prepare ahead of time.
Awesome. Okay, so if you give me one tip, maybe something I didn't ask you, and one tip okay, let's start first with the tip. So one tip for someone to get started with social media right now, if they're afraid, they feel too ugly, or they're just, I don't want to do video, like, what tip can you give them to just get going? Because we know that video is the future. I always call it the multiple fishing rods in the water, right? So you may have a website, you may have networking like you do, the Renegade Networking. Those are called different fishing rods in the water, but I think video is going to be like the big hook, and almost like a net. So one tip for our listeners and our viewers.
Well, I would just take your phone out right now and put it in vertical mode and start talking to one person, because that's it. When we record, it's not live, so I wouldn't do a Facebook Live, Instagram Live. I would just hit record, chat, and just talk it out for a full minute, and then boom, put it away. And then download that app, Big VU. It's a free app. You can write a script there and start practicing every day, putting a story. But you got to post. So you've got to, people, when they see you're vulnerable and you're authentic and you're not perfect and you make mistakes, you're relatable. So the days of having perfect video and makeup, people don't like that anymore. So this is why, if you're raw, your house isn't perfectly clean, that's fine. Be you and just talk to one person and just put it out there. No one's going to bash you on it. I find, like, with the community now, social media, there's a lot of positive things that comes out of it. And if you get something negative, just let it bounce off you. Just have blinders on. So you got to post, but you got to do it daily. It's just like telling your clients, you got to lift the weight, you got to put in the reps. The only way you're going to get better is if you just jump in. But set yourself up for success by figuring out what you're going to talk theme, distill it down to a few sentences, and download the app and start doing it every single day. Don't stop.
Awesome. And what was that app again?
It's a Big VU. So BIGVU. It's a teleprompter app, and you can even speed it up and slow it down. So you see how the words go down. It is amazing. So that's what I use that's what I do for my students. I send them scripts. They just plug and play. And then by then they don't need any. So I've got a few scripts if your students, if you want me to send you a few, just with the call to action, the story theme, all that. So it just helps get the ball rolling. I had to do this myself because this is me. If that's what I would do if I was to start over again. Because I mean, I had the success in a year working with Craig, but the first 2 or 3 months I was wasting time because I was overthinking it. I didn't get out of my head. Craig was saying, "Ron, you're overthinking it." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." So looking back, I'm like, man, it wasn't until I was on fire for 6 months, but I still procrastinated. I still waste time. Now I don't. Now it's like, boom, I just get stuff done. So I don't waste time at all.
Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate that, Ron. That's so valuable. So again, if anybody wants to connect with you, it's your I think your preferred method is Instagram at Ron Mora.
Yeah, you can DM me. Yeah, Ron, absolutely. That's where I'm more active right now. Facebook, everything gets repurposed on Facebook, but Facebook's a different beast. So if your audience is there, but my audience isn't, so I don't get that much views. But LinkedIn, I'm going to be more active because LinkedIn is gold. So depending on your market, it's a different beast. You don't want to approach it the same way. So I'm not going to do daily stories on LinkedIn, but I take my horizontal videos, my IGTV, and I repurpose it there. So it has captions, it has a time bar. I follow what the big guys are doing, the Grant Cardone. Soon I will have like a little intro, like, each one of those influencers has a cool intro initially. I think Gary Vee started it. But, I mean, a lot of people are following suit, but hey, he's a trendsetter. Why wouldn't you do something that's like follow suit, right? He set the trend. So, and he really, Gary Vee really posts it all the time. And and he still creates lots of value. He's tons and tons. He's all over. He's everywhere. You're omnipresent. That's what he did. So I would use that Gary Vee model, but distill it down because we're not there yet. We got to be focused on fitness and not just talk about, what I find. You're not really there to, you're not, what's the best way to say it? Like, you're not a mindset coach. I find a lot of trainers want to talk about mindset. That's important, but you have to, fitness and fat loss, you're selling hard advice. The same as business coaching, that's hard advice. Relationship. Once you get into mindset, that's like fluff advice. Not that it's bad, but it's hard to quantify. And how do you sell that? You can still do that, but you can't get you quick wins. So with me, I position myself, I give people what they want, right? And then I cater to their needs. So mindset's huge, but once they're a client of mine, we focus on that. But with my videos, I touch upon that, but they know that I'm an online fitness coach, not a mindset coach or a mindset specialist. Because you can't touch it, very fluffy. So I didn't go down that track. I was thinking of doing it, but Craig's like, no, let's stick to hard advice. So
yeah, and what I love about your Instagram is when I go to your page, I know specifically what you do, and I think that most business owners are using social media. You go to their page and you don't know what they do. I think the first thing in correcting, what you do is if someone comes to your page, they should know easily what you do. I know some of these people, and I'm like, I go to your page and I'm like, geez, I really don't know what you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. Are you selling gym memberships? Are you working out in a gym? Aren't you supposed to be an in-home trainer, or aren't you supposed to be an online trainer, or maybe a hybrid both? Like, make it clear in your bio. And also make it clear with your messaging, right? And that's something that you do amazingly well. So.
Yeah, that is so important because a confused mind will not take action. If there's any friction, there's so many eyeballs, we're fighting for eyeballs. There's so many things out there. So you really have to stand out, but also exactly what you do. So some people, if you do hybrid training, you can triage them. You can say, I still have a garage gym and I will train some people, but I don't promote that. And my videos aren't me training people. But if they come in through the funnel, like the DM, and I find out they're from Brantford, I'll throw in some bonus sessions.
Right.
But I only call myself an online. But if someone does own a gym and offer different things, then you can change the wording. But yeah, you have to be very clear. You have to tell people what you do and how you do it and encourage them to DM you. And now the big thing for Instagram is saves, like likes and all that. The algorithm is going to change. So we're getting our students to encourage people to hit the save button. So if I show them a recipe, hey, encourage them to save this for your next dinner. Or if it's a workout, here, save this. That save button on Instagram will get you to get more views. And using hashtags as well. But yeah, confused mind will not lie. You want to have less friction. And if they DM me, I'll keep the conversation going there. I won't push them. I won't get their email address and get them on an email list. Just they prefer to communicate this way. There's less friction. I don't send them to a link or anything. I just try to get them in a DM to a call right away.
Right. And you try to schedule a call. Perfect. Yeah. So Yeah, I think you gave a ton of value for our listeners, and this, you know, we talk a lot about personal training, but this can be applied to any business. And
Sure.
you know, we saw this weekend real estate agents doing it. There were so many different type of businesses, and this all anything on social media and shooting video. I think your advice is amazing, Ron. So listen, thanks so much. It was so awesome connecting with you. First of all, you know, over
Yeah.
the past weekend, and now suddenly we're on a podcast, and you know, and we want to encourage people. So if you're a listener to this show or you're watching this, like, network with other like-minded entrepreneurs. You will get a ton of value. Just look at a guy like Ron. He shared so much info with us today, and that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't networking with other like-minded people. And hopefully I gave you some some tips as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You gave me so much. I mean, we're sharing things, but we're excited about it. And community is king. And think about how Craig created this. He created an experience online initially, but made us meet in person. So you can replicate that with your business. So you can create amazing experiences for people online. Then eventually, if you have a live event. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I know that we're going to stay in touch. I want to see uh, your business grow as well, because it sends a message. We're very similar in what we do. I mean, you help liberate trainers from working at gyms. You're helping empower them so they can make more money, because I know how that feels as a trainer. You're not making anything. I even owned a gym, so I love your model. And now that what I do with for Craig is I help his students, a lot of them trainers, make more money, because we're like, by serving more people, they're serving more people, they're getting them healthier. So we're making the world a healthier place, kind of directly and indirectly. So I love that, my man.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I call it the win-win-win, right? The trainer wins, the client wins, and everybody wins, right? The owner wins. So like we're all owners in a sense, right? And I love empowering entrepreneurs. And if you can make it a win-win-win for everybody, and I think you've got an awesome business. So once again, honestly, thanks so much, Ron. We're going to stay connected for sure. And I really, really appreciate you coming on board today.
Thank you, Mike. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, you got it. Take care.